get into the topic of today. So as you guys can see from the Google Form links, the topic that we are discussing today is the CSU system, so the California State University system. And we're here to kind of talk about all the different resources, opportunities, and just why it might be a great institution for you all to consider if you maybe haven't thought of those institutions, or maybe haven't thought like, oh, maybe I should look into this, or maybe that. So the very first thing that I'm going to show you guys, just talk to you guys about, is the different resources that we have within the packet, within our weekly email. Just fun little things to kind of be able to explore and see what else the CSU system has to offer, all the different institutions. So this first one, super friendly, super fun, is a campus directory. So it connects you to all the links, websites of all the services for each of the campuses. So this is all for Bakersfield as well as for Channel Islands. And it makes it just, very handy so that you can research, see what's happening, what's out there, from admissions to financial aid to early start to international student admissions, health center, housing, everything in between. It has the links so that you can easily just press on it and it'll take you straight to that web page. Oops, that's the wrong one. Then over here is the local area admission. So technically, because these are our California schools, they want to support our California students. They do have different types of local areas in which they want to support and, are trying to highlight. For us, our local area school is Dominguez Hills. So that's our predominant school. That's why you often hear like, oh, you should apply to Dominguez Hills, because it's our local area school. They're trying to support students from this area and trying to help them when it comes to admissions. You can see from different regions. For Long Beach, unfortunately, we are not within the boundaries for Cal State Long Beach. And you can see down here what are the different areas for each school / the counties. And all that fun stuff. That's there to explore. And then you have our packet. So either this is printed out for you guys right there to have if you're here on site, in person. If you're here joining us virtually, it should be attached to your email, and it has all different resources. Sorry about the map. I know it's a little, faded, a little light. But you get to see all the campuses. I like showing this one because it tells you the different systems or semester type systems that each of the schools have. And what I mean by that is that most of the CSUs are on a semester system, but there are a few, at least two, that are on a quarter system, meaning that they operate in little segments of each of the year, meaning that you have your coursework a little bit faster, you have to understand the information faster, and the classes kind of go faster. Every month you should be taking tests, midterms, then finals, and it just moves at a faster pace so that you kind of understand. But it also does mean that you start later in the year. So, pluses and minuses. And all this lovely information that we'll be discussing and talking about today. So, if you didn't get the email, let us know in the chat so that we can correct that. Some of our emails do bounce back and we're slowly trying to fix it, adjust it. If you guys have any questions, feel free to drop it in the chat. We have all of our lovely case managers here to happy and answer any of the questions that come up, or if you have anything that you want us to know, feel free, chat us up. We're here to support you, here to help you out and explore everything in between. But without further ado, let's get started, right? So introduction to the CSU system. What are our California State Universities? A lot of times I'll say CSUs, and sometimes we'll say like, oh, what is that? Is that like USC? And I'll say, no, it's not USC. Is that like UCLA? And I'll say, no, that's not UCLA. It's our California State University system. So this is kind of like the foundational kind of set of schools that we have the opportunities to apply to. I think if you're considering a 4-year institution, even if you're thinking of a 2-year institution, I think these are the types of institutions that you should also apply to, just to give it a chance, just to kind of explore and just to kind of engage. If you're thinking of applying to college, I think these are institutions that should be on your list. At least 1, 2, 3, hopefully 4 that you can add onto your list. I think everyone should be applying to this, even if you're thinking community college, because if there's a will, there's a way, and we can try and figure things out and try and make it happen. And you're going to see exactly why. So starting it off, pop quiz. How many are there? How many California State Universities are there? Who can tell me? Who knows? me see in the chat. Wow, you guys are so smart. It's like you guys have been here before. It's like you've come to workshop. It's like amazing. I enjoy it so much. But yeah, you guys are right. I'm seeing 23, and there are 23 different flavors and different options and opportunities. Now, who can name the most? Don't copy and paste. I don't want to see no Google searches. Who can name them the most right now? Let's see. I don't want no cheating. Who can name all 23? That's the hard one. Oh, Ingrid said she can. Oh. Or maybe she has a question. But Ingrid said she's got it.
I got it, but I'll let others try.
Wow. Who wants to try naming all 23? Anyone else? Don't be scared. Who wants to challenge Miss Ingrid? Anyone want to say it out loud? Yeah. Phone a friend. It's a hard one because there's so many options, so many schools, so many flavors. I like that Yale. Excellent, 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 excellent. But, ooh, let me admit some people. There we go. And then let's get back to it. Oh. Okay. So as we said, there are 23 different institutions. They are scattered all over California. So that's one of the perks with the California State University. Not only are they Hispanic serving institutions, meaning that they're here to support students of color, low income, first generation students. They're here to support everything across. But then the nice thing is that you have opportunities everywhere in California. So if you want to experience a new environment, you have the opportunity to explore, go somewhere new, be able to kind of see the vibe. And if we're being incredibly honest, each section of California is very different from Southern California or from Los Angeles. The further you go up, it's just a whole different atmosphere. It's a whole different vibe. If you're in Central California, that's usually like a lot of farmland, a lot of free empty space. Very different vibe. If you go to the tippy top of California, also completely unique and completely different experiences. So every part of California is different. So if you want to explore, kind of see different avenues, CSU system is a great opportunity because there's plenty of different places to test it out and see what else is out there. From the top to the bottom, you can go all over California and have that incredible education. So what makes the CSU system great? What makes it incredible? Why is this something that I think everyone should be applying to or be considering having on their college application list? Well, the few key things is that, number one, it's affordable. The CSU education next to the community college is probably one of the most affordable options that students can kind of consider, especially if you're thinking of something local or something that's a little bit accessible to you. So if we go back to our map, you see right here within the Los Angeles area, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, like about 5 different institutions, 6 different institutions that are local enough that you can drive to, commute to, and have that kind of connection. So there's plenty of different opportunities, and if you do kind of engage or kind of drive out or kind of experience that, it can be truly incredibly affordable to save you like a whole bunch of money. They're career focused and their education is completely oriented on being hands-on, being able to, really support and help out with students, giving them that hands-on experience. The key thing is internships, right? It's making sure that not only do you know what you want to study, but you really enjoy it, or you kind of have that experience to know like, oh, this is what I want to do. A lot of times it's incorporated into the education that most times that you'll speak to students that attend to CSU, they had to have some form of internship, connection, or some type of volunteering or experience to really validate that this is what they want to study or that this is what they want to go into. The CSU even has a commitment to help students graduate within 5 to 6 years. Why do I say 5 to 6 years? Just because of the course load, the classes, from the different types of fields, sometimes it takes those 5 to 6 years for a student to graduate. And given the different types of degree opportunities that they offer, you can kind of see it from their bachelor's, master's, bachelor's of science, bachelor's of arts, PhD, everything in between. The CSU has that availability and that connection to be able to offer you those opportunities so that you can continue your education there. And above all, these are kind of the top two different components that I really think about, is that 23 unique spaces, unique flavors, unique atmospheres. Every single institution is going to be different. You can't really compare Cal State LA to Cal State Long Beach because the vibe is totally different. The atmosphere where it's located and the different types of components or what they really focus on is different. What makes that institution unique. So you really want to explore. But one thing I can guarantee you is that you're going to have a great quality education at each one of those institutions to really be able to explore and just play with it. And above all, what makes the CSU system great is EOP. If you've never heard what EOP is, if you don't really know what it stands for, it's called the Educational Opportunity Program. And what makes it so strong or so incredible at the California State University system is the fact that it's a physical building, it's a physical space, it's somewhere that you can actually go to, similar to the Boys and Girls Club, where you can receive resources and you can receive help to support you in your college journey. That way you don't really kind of feel alone. You have those resources, you have access. The whole point of this program that the system is funding, that the system is supporting, that they're pushing to make it stronger, to make it better, is to support low income first generation students of color. They want to support students to be able to succeed and have that have no limits stop them from achieving higher education. They want to eliminate boundaries and want to eliminate different types of things. So that's what really makes the CSU system unique. And if you don't believe me, let's go into a little bit more detail. So when it comes to affordability, as you can see with this beautiful pictographic, is that 84% of students on average are receiving some form of financial aid. Fine, golden. What stands out to me the most is that 59% of those undergraduate students have their tuition paid. Tuition is for you to just be able to attend an institution. That means 59% of those students, more than half of those students, are receiving some form of financial aid to be able to make it affordable to go into those institutions. They give out so much financial aid and support to help students, especially if you're thinking of a local school that you don't really have to do housing. It's an incredibly affordable school that you can get paid off or that you can get for free. When you're thinking of housing, that's where the CSU system kind of falls apart a little bit. When you're trying to go somewhere far, it makes it a little bit difficult. Not that it's impossible, 100% it's possible, but it just makes it a little bit difficult. Makes you kind of need to put in a little more effort into scholarships or programs or just being able to support with that. Part of the reason why it's so affordable, part of the reason why the CSU system is here to kind of support is the fact that the goal is to help you achieve your bachelor's degree, to help you start working into that workforce, to be able to really connect and be able to start working in California, being able to be that leader, young professional. And that's the whole point of the education. Eliminate the boundaries, eliminate anything that's stopping you from reaching higher education. Just to kind of prove it to you, I like using this little example from Cal State Northridge. So Cal State Northridge has an incredibly affording housing program and different opportunities. The tuition is, super, super helpful, super, super accessible. If you're thinking of going out there, if you're thinking of staying at home, it's a great opportunity to kind of explore because the education system is strong, really top when it comes to like criminal justice, social justice, things like that. But here's a sample award letter of what a student received to be able to, attend to this institution, go to Cal State Northridge. So if you compare it to living with a parent and how much it costs, you see the total cost of $19,576. If you compare it to their award letter, they're receiving, roughly about $20,000 offered. From free money, they're getting about $15,000. If we really look at what the main cost is that we want to cover, that our main thing, which you'll hear us talk about all the time, we want to always cover is our tuition and our housing. So if you add those two up, that's about like what? $14,000? She's getting $15,000 in free money. That's affordable. Not only are you able to live out there, you're able to go to school and you're able to make it work. So that's honestly validates how it's really affordable. And the biggest thing that I want to highlight from the student is the fact that they got this EOP grant. That means that not only did they get into the school with the support of EOP, because this particular student was a student that was thinking of doing community college. She didn't really think that she could go into a California State University system. But as she kind of worked with us, as she kind of talked to us, she kind of explored and said, you know what, let me take a chance and apply. And with that connection through EOP, because they are looking to support students, being able to help them out in getting into higher education, she applied to the EOP program, and thanks to that program, she was able to get into Cal State Northridge and make it work and be able to live out there, be on campus, and kind of experience it. So the CSU truly is an affordable option if you even are thinking just community college right now, or like, I don't really think college right now. It's a great opportunity, and at the end of the day, the worst thing that could happen is that they say no, right? That's the worst thing that can happen. And if it says no and you're thinking community college, okay, cool. I still have my original plan, and that's what I can go with. If they say yes, well, now you have a new world of opportunity. Now you have this access to be able to, go into higher education, explore it, and check it out. That kind of initiative and that kind of incentive continues on with the different types of formats that they want to support students. When you're thinking of CSU system, they produce a lot of formats. Every institution is, but great programs to be able to support the needs of students. At the end of the day, each institution is trying to support, focus on, and being able to highlight and see what each student needs to be successful, to help them throughout their education process. From having a strong foundation in hands-on education, from being able to go from jobs, being able to build career readiness, being able to secure internships, being able to use resources across campus to explore and see what else is out there, to helping them have that network to land that first job, to even supporting them throughout their education with basic needs. Basic needs is a huge factor when it comes to college education, because sometimes, it's a little bit struggle, right? Life is a little bit of struggle. Pandemic has been a struggle. So sometimes their students face things like food insecurity, or things like maybe housing loss, or things like lacking resources or health needs. And the CSU provides those resources from students. Every single campus has access or has support to some form of EBT, food stamps, so that you don't have to worry about food while you're in college. They have access to food pantries, so that in case you're really hungry or you don't have access to a meal, or you want to be able to have that, you can go to a food pantry and be able to access those foods. They have emergency funds in case, let's say, your car is stolen or something happens, or you're not able to make it to school, or you have a huge campus emergency. You were planning to live somewhere, but unfortunately it didn't work out. Well, they have funds to be able to support you, from CalFresh to mental resources to everything in between, so that you don't feel unable to continue your education. At the end of the day, the goal is to help you accomplish your dreams, help you accomplish what you want to set out to do at these institutions. They're here to support you, and they're here to, make you successful and be able to achieve that higher education. So that's really what makes it beautiful, and that's what makes the CSU system, so successful when it comes to helping students earn different types of degrees. That's the thing, that's the goal, helping you earn different types of degrees. So I know this looks a little funky, right? A little funky, but we're going into high school, we're trying to transition to college, so we gotta start learning how to interpret data, or if we're already incredible at interpreting data, perfect time to utilize those skills. But I love this data because it shows how many students are enrolled at the California State Institution and how it's grown from 2004 to now. But what I love most about it is you see the different types of students that they're able to support with and they're able to kind of connect with. So even for right now, you see first generation students, 32% of first generation students are getting their undergraduate degree at a California State University. First in the family to attend college, 50% of those students say that they're first in the family to attend college, and they have those resources to be able to support them. Students of color, you see a lot of Hispanic students are, succeeding, going to the CSU system, obtaining degrees. Not only is it their undergraduate, but from their graduate school. How many students, the CSU is helping over 18,000 students within getting their graduate school. 48% are first in the family to attend graduate school. Even doctoral programs, from 25% of the students are Hispanic Latino, first generation, first in the family to attend. And even the types of degrees that they're offering, from business as one of the top degrees they're earning as an undergraduate, to liberal sciences, to education in the graduate school, health professions, so medicine, psychology, biological, engineering as an undergraduate, to even a doctoral program in medicine, education, biological or biomedical sciences, engineering. So these are the top majors, top opportunities, top programs at these institutions across the board that you have access to, that you should really consider, because the CSU is a whole bunch of opportunities. And even throughout the years, they've been able to help students graduate. If you see from the beginning, they started with 25,000 bachelor's degrees that they were starting off with. So now we're growing all the way up to 109,000 students graduating with a bachelor's degree, graduating with their diplomas, being able to succeed and kind of reach that next step or that next phase to higher education. The CSU system is to guide you through that. That's because the CSU system cares, and its goal to get you ready. Each of those institutions, though, is a little unique, right? It's a little different because each institution has different flavors, right? The key is that you get to explore different types of atmospheres, climates, just different types of vibes across California, and you really get to see what each institution has. The key thing, though, is the more impacted an institution is, or the more impacted a program is, well, it's a little harder to get into the school. That's how it kind of varies when it comes to admissions and when it comes to those kind of processes. But really explore and see what else is out there, because CSU admissions is a CSU of opportunity. And the biggest opportunity at the CSU system is the Educational Opportunity Program, which I think everyone should give a chance, because their whole mission is to support low-income, first-generation students of color in succeeding in higher education at colleges, universities, to earn that diploma. If you are a student who's maybe feels like, oh, I don't have the grades for school, or oh, I don't really think I should apply, or I don't really think I'm eligible, or any types of situations like that, or you think like, no, community college is the best for me, EOP is here to support you. EOP is here to make sure that you are successful. EOP is here to guide you every step of the way so that you can succeed at your campus, at your institution, whichever one of the CSUs you end up going to. And one of the most beautiful things is that if, let's say you're in a place and you meet with your case manager and we're like, oh, we're just missing this 1 year of math, or we're just missing this one component, because of the Educational Opportunity Program, if they see your hard work, the fact that you are committed to education, maybe you didn't do so hot in high school and you maybe don't have the qualifications to apply, or missing one of your A through G requirements, they can make it work, and they can make that commitment to still admit you into the institution. That's what my student, as I talked about earlier with the financial aid award letter, that was her situation. She wasn't technically eligible because she was missing 1 year of math, but she still decided to give it a try and apply. She applied and put in a lot of effort into the EOP program. She wrote her statements, which you guys will be able to see in your packet. And it helped her get into the schools. It helped her get into Cal State Northridge. It helped her get into Dominguez Hills. It helped her get into that opportunity. So there's opportunities out there. If you think like, oh, maybe this isn't for me, there's a program out there that's trying to support you, wants you to succeed, and wants you to be able to achieve that higher education, be able to achieve more, and be able to, go for education. That's the most beautiful thing. And because of the amount of resources, because of the amount of success across every single one of the CSU schools, you can see a lot of people are applying to these institutions. From the overall applications of 352,000 from last year to how many first-time freshmen, so from California, are applying, they received over 182,000. But they're willing to make it work. Each school, each opportunity is here that, a lot of these students got admitted into one of these schools. There's only a small discrepancy between that, where it's only 40,000 students that unfortunately didn't get accepted. So there's different types of opportunities out there. The CSU is here to support you and here to support you receive higher education. So now that we've kind of talked a little bit about what makes them special, let's talk a little bit about the application. Let's talk a little bit about what it kind of makes it work. So the beautiful thing about the application for the CSU system is that it's the most simple. It makes it, honestly, it's the most simple applications. I think even if you compare it to community college applications or UC applications, this is the most streamlined application, and it's the most accessible. And if you've been with us from the beginning or in the summer and how we've told you to do California community colleges, if you did that component, you have most of your CSU application done, because the hardest part about the application is just inputting your grades. What makes it so wonderful is the fact that it's just one website and you can apply to any single one of the 23 schools. You have different types of options. You can choose which ones you want to apply to, which ones you don't want to apply to. The choice is yours, but it's just one application. You don't have to do 23 different applications. You don't have to do 40 different applications. Just one. One account, and that's going to seal the deal when it comes to applying. When it comes to the application as a whole, there's only a few key things that you have to think about. You have to pay $70 to pay for the campus fee, as well as there's also different types of fee waivers embedded into the application, which makes it accessible. They want to support students in achieving higher ed, so if you meet their income requirements as you put in your family's income, they're going to make a special fee waiver so that you get 4 free applications. I think, Karina, did you want to say something before or no? I heard something, but I wasn't sure.
Hi, everyone. Yeah, just wanted to add a little bit on EOP. EOP is in part of the application. You're going to hear that term mentioned a lot, and it is a program that was created about 50 years ago, specifically for first-generation college students. So that is all of you. If you are the first to go to college, this amazing program is going to change your life. It's going to ensure that you're part of that graduation rate between those 5 to 6 years that Mr. Eddie was talking about. They're going to ensure that you are financially stable, that you are taking the right classes, and they're going to make sure more than anything that if you're ever homesick, they provide you with that support. If you're at a school like Humboldt, that where you're closer to Oregon than you are to LA. And so we got to see the map. They're everywhere. They're spread out through the state of California. And so depending on the one you decide to make your school, your permanent home for the next 4 years, that part of California is going to look very different to you than it is in LA. We do have commuter schools, and commuter schools are where you go and come. And in some cases you're even able to have a little money left over. But in this application is going to be opening in 2 weeks from now. So we want to ensure that you don't get overwhelmed. We know the Common App is open. We know the UC is open. Financial aid is also going to open in 2 weeks. And so rather than having you be overwhelmed, what we're going to talk about next is just the getting ready. What things should you have in front of you? What can you do now from here until October 1st, which is the first date you can formally apply to any of these schools? We do anticipate there being a mixture of emotions, right? You're between the Cal State, the UCs. You may want to know the difference. One of the biggest difference between the UCs and the Cal States is that the CSUs are in a semester school, where the UCs are in a quarter system. So you take more classes, less time. You're in a research institution where the Cal States are more hands-on. So make sure that you're taking notes. Make sure that you click on the links on the chat if you have this presentation in front of you, just so you can follow along. And I just wanted to highlight the importance of EOP. It is a separate application. There is different prompts that you have to answer. You do have to get 2 letters of rec, but again, it's going to be a program that it's going to impact you in such a way that you're going to not only graduate within the 5 to 6 year mark, but you're also going to again have that moral support. Now you're going to find EOP at every institution that is in California, so such like the community colleges, the UC. You just see an extra letter in there, but know that the EOP for the CSU is for Education Opportunity Program in comparison to the UC, which is EAOP. So different, but just an extra letter in there. So just want to make sure, I did see a question, said this the UCC or CSU and UC together or H. Now the applications are income-based. So once you input your income, it's going to notify you, yes, eligible for the waiver, or no, not eligible for the fee waiver. The UC application is the only one that has an additional fee waiver on top of the one that they already have as part of the application. They do have a paper waiver. So that is the only set of schools that you should not have to pay for, but the Cal State is income-based. So the truth is, as soon as you put in that income, it's gonna notify you whether you're eligible for the waiver, and the waiver is good for up to 4 schools. There's 23, so you get to decide which 4. We do advise students that they are selective and that they have a variety of schools and not so many competitive Cal States or so many competitive UCs. Otherwise, the chances of getting in is going to get harder and harder. So we have binders at every location where we highlight every single CSU, all 23 of them. Will even tell you what they're known for. And so this is some time to you can use to start doing research and do process of elimination in which 4 you're going to want to apply. If there is a 5th one that you would like to apply because you want to have more options, do know the application is $70, so that's just $70 that you'll have to pay. I think it's worth it because you have at least one extra opportunity to pretty much have as an option. So back to you, Eddie.
Thank you, thank you. Thank you, thank you. And then even within this presentation, which we can PDF for you guys, are those highlights to be able to really explore and just kind of research, or even sit down with the case manager. Even the links from each of the websites gives you the chance to really explore what the school kind of is like, what it kind of looks like, and see if it's your vibe. Because, you know, it's new parts of California, new kind of education systems. So you want to make sure it fits your vibe. If you're like, that doesn't feel like me, I know, you know, I completely understand that. And if you can, I always say that, especially if you're an underclassman, if you can, join us during the summers to do tours, to check out the schools. I know the kids that were with us this summer were able to go see the schools. We're able to feel like, oh, you know what, Fullerton, I thought it was mine, but I don't like the way it feels. It just didn't feel like my vibe. Or if you're like, oh my gosh, Fullerton, I love the vibe. I loved everything about it. I liked how the school was laid out. I liked the weather. I could deal with it. You know, it really is that experience to see if it's something that you can, you know, deal with real experience and you want to thrive in. And then as Ms. Carino was saying, each school is about $70. If you do the fee waivers, it is at least 4. So if you do qualify for a fee waiver, it is 4 free schools that you can choose from. Both CSU and UC, that is the goal, to get at least 4 for free. Again, it is income driven, so we'll have to see in the applications. And when it comes to applying, the main things that you have to do, submit your transcripts, because admissions to a CSU is highly GPA driven. They're not really looking at many other factors other than GPA, and I'm going to explain to you why they kind of do those different factors. And of course, you have to do orientation. Fun, 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 fun. So because we're in a new landscape, right? We faced a pandemic. We're still in a pandemic. We're still in a little pandy. Admissions has changed a little bit. Ordinarily, I would tell you that the CSU is looking at 2 key components, both your GPA and your SAT or ACT scores. However, because of the pandemic, things have changed. This year and last year, the CSU said SAT, ACT scores, we'd love to have them, but they're not required. We'll utilize them to help make sure that you're college ready, meaning that we won't have you do our summer bridge or our early start program, which is a great program that helps you get ready and get in gear for college. It helps you make sure that you do your English and your math courses, that you're ready come fall semester, come that first day, you're already in college level English, college level math. So we'll love those scores to make sure that you meet those areas. However, when it comes to admissions, we recognize testing's a little bit hard. It's a little bit hard to get into those centers. It's hard to get those appointments. So you know what? We're going to waive it. However, what we are going to do is we're going to change our minimum GPA. So for any resident in California, the minimum GPA to be considered for eligibility admissions is that 2.5. Now, if you have a below 2.5, can you still apply? Yes, 100%. Yes, 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 yes. The only issue is that they're going to look at your application a little bit closer. They're going to look at different other factors and different other components of your application to, you know, kind of meet with that. That's where a big deal EOP can come in and kind of be that additional support to say, you know what? Yes, the student has like a 2.3, 2.2 CSU, UC GPA, but hear their story, hear their struggle, or hear, you know, what they're passionate about or that they're driven for education. Yes, let's get them into the school. Yes, let's get them into the program. Now, when it comes to pass and fail classes. I know all of you guys got an email or were told that, hey, FYI, for your junior year, if you are a senior, for your 10th grade year, let's say you didn't do too much well, you have the opportunity to change your class from, let's say, a C or a D to a pass-fail system, right? The main thing about that system is that it helps you meet eligibility requirements. So the main eligibility requirement is meeting your A through G. It's not going to impact your GPA. Is that a good thing or a bad thing? It's a little bit of a both. It's a little bit of a neutral factor, right? If you had a B, you don't want to do that because you want to make sure that it showcases that B. If you have a C, maybe that's beneficial for you because now that means that you passed maybe math or you passed a class that you were really struggling with. So that's something that, I would say individually you would want to, talk to, consider, speak to a case manager so that we can have that better recommendation of saying like, yeah, if you can switch this to a pass, or no, don't switch this to a pass, or just see it all. Just be straightforward and be like, here's everything. But that's how it kind of comes into play. It changes, it doesn't affect your GPA, but it can meet eligibility requirements. When it comes to the application itself, you have a better handout within your packet with the checklist. This one is the one from last year, so I do apologize for that. But it does have that little note saying that SAT, ACT test scores are not required. That is completely optional. If you have them, put them in. If you don't, totally fine. That's not going to hurt you. It's not going to harm you. It's not going to benefit you when it comes to admissions. It's only going to benefit you when it comes to validating college and career readiness, which is that little brochure that I showed you guys earlier with the college career readiness. And we'll talk about that a little later. But all they request is your grades, transcript, social security, if you have one, citizen status, parent citizen, annual income, your background, TULIP recommendations, and your California student state ID. And we're going to talk about where you can get all of these information or sit down with a case manager so you can start gathering it. So you know, oh, this is what I need. Because like Ms. Karina said, 2 weeks, we're going to start walking through the application system. Literally, next week, we're going to go into the UC system, and then we're going to start applying to private schools. After that, it's just applying, because that's all that's left, right? We're going to be walking that pathway to start applying to each institution. Additional requirements, as Ms. Karina mentioned, for EOP is that you need that recommender. Doesn't have to be, someone crazy connected with, at least a counselor, a teacher, someone else that you know, just can't be a family member. And that's the rule of thumb for any letters of recommendation. It's a great opportunity to really kind of peep it out to see, oh, who's my great recommender? Who should I start going to? Now is a great time to start those gears turning, because not only could it help you out for EOP, but it can help you out for scholarships, private schools, everything in between. It's a nice little kind of gear turner to kind of start thinking about. And of course, the family support. If you participate in any of those publicly funded programs like free reduced price lunch, WIC, food stamps, everything in between, that's just a little additional support to show them when it comes to admissions. So now we talked a little bit about competitive impaction, what that kind of looks like, what that kind of means. And the way it kind of works is that a school becomes competitive because a lot of people are trying to go to that school. And this you have in your packet, and I know it's a little blurry, but you can kind of see how many people are applying to each institution and how many are getting accepted. If you look into Bakersfield, a lot of people applying, but a lot of people are getting into the school, right? If you look at Long Beach, a lot of people are applying, not too many people are getting into the school. I like looking at Cal Poly San Luis Obispo because a lot of people are applying, not many people are getting into the school. And part of the reason is that each campus is really known for different types of flavors, right? Cal Poly San Luis Obispo, incredible. Engineering, that's the school you want to go to. Cal State Long Beach, top in every type of field. Fresno, just like Long Beach, top in various different types of field. Bakersfield, Channel Islands, if you're really passionate about nursing, that's a place where you need to really consider. Northridge, if you love film, television, deaf studies, social justice, great place to really kind of explore, kind of really go into it. Maritime Academy, if you're really interested in marine transportation, marine kind of economics, anything related to like ocean, Navy, that type of field, great school to look at, great school to really think about. Things in Sacramento, Stanislaus, Sonoma, those are kind of like the wine country area. They have unique majors when it comes to viticulture, growing, agriculture, different things like that. So that's also to consider. Fresno's in a nice little farming area, so that might be something that you want to consider. LA, very artistic, very passionate. Engineering is also a great opportunity out there. So each school is a little bit different. Each school has different kind of things. Fullerton, great for business. Chico's business. Everyone has different unique opportunities. So you want to see what works best and to kind of understand, okay, what extra effort do I need to put in to really get into the school? And that's where we talk about impaction. Impaction literally means is that too many applicants, qualified applicants, so applicants that would typically get into the school, that means people that would meet that requirement, that 2.5 requirement, are applying to a school or a major, but they don't have enough seats. So just like if you're in the college center or if you're in your room, you could fit maybe like 10 people, but 30 people are trying to get into the room. Sorry, that means we have to be a little bit more selective or we have to raise our criteria. When a school is more impacted, that means that their GPA or their factors for admissions are a little bit higher. So that means they're looking at, okay, how many A through G courses did you take? How many math courses did you take? If you're trying to be part of my engineering program, we need to see your math GPA. We need to calculate your science GPA. Different factors come into play the more competitive a school is. So let's say ordinarily our GPA is a 2.5, right? Well, if you're trying to get into Cal State Long Beach, because so many people are applying to Long Beach, so many people are trying to be a part of the program, their GPA is a little bit higher. They're looking for something a little bit more because, they have access to that impaction because they're so competitive. You may ask yourself, like, how do I know what? How do I know what's what? You have this lovely little handout within your packet, which explains all the details about what they're kind of looking for when it comes to admissions, when it comes to applications. It looks like almost every school is going to be accepting applications and they're going to be reviewing applications if you're between a 2.0 to a 2.49 GPA. So that means wherever your GPA is, they're willing to give you a chance. They're really kind of willing to look at it and really kind of to explore. If your GPA is between a 2.7, 2.47 to a 2.99, so typical admissions requirements, are they going to look at your application? Yes. When you see schools that are fully impacted, so like San Luis Obispo, Long Beach, San Diego, these are schools that so many people are applying to. They have the most applications, over 60, 80,000 applications. You see that they're looking for GPAs higher than that 2.99. They're looking at that 3.0 GPA, 3.1 GPA. So you kind of understand how it's kind of coming in, how it kind of goes in. One thing I will say about Cal State Long Beach is that if you are in that 3.0 GPA, apply. Think about it. Go for it because Cal State Long Beach has a pathway known as Beach Pathways that they're looking to support low-income first-generation students of color to, get into Cal State Long Beach. So that's something, consider. Long Beach has that support program. When you look at the other factors, so if you look at Long Beach, they're going to look at your math GPA. They're going to look at your English GPA, your science GPA. They're going to look at educational programs. When you look at Bakersfield, additional factors that they'll look at. How many A through G courses have you done? Have you gone beyond the bare minimum? How many additional courses have you taken? Are you a first generation student? Do you have any youth services, military, extracurricular activities? Which schools are really looking at those extracurricular activities? Are looking how many hours you've done? So this is a nice little handout. It's not 100% accurate because for STEM majors, it becomes a little bit more competitive. Anyone going into engineering, sciences, I can tell you across the board at any institution, it's just a little harder because it's a little more competitive. A lot of people are trying to go into those majors because that's what they think is what they're looking for. Sometimes it works out, sometimes it doesn't. No stressors. That's part of the journey, part of the life at a college to really explore. How do you know that you're meeting your requirements? It's this form. You see it all the time. You see us talk about it. It's your A through G requirements. So it's making sure that you have your 2 years of social science, your 4 years of English, your 3 years of math, 2 years of lab science, 1 biological, 1 physical, 2 years of the same language that's not English, 1 year of visual performing arts, 1 additional A through G course. And the key thing is that you sit down with your case manager so that you're able to fill it out. Just like as this little sample that we have from our Marlark students, it shows you what your UC CSU GPA, what you're working with. It's not 100% accurate always on your transcripts, so we want to showcase that. Talk about careers, so we can talk about which schools might be, schools you want to go for. Which ones might be your dream, which ones might be your safety schools, which ones might be your reach, and it all kind of comes into play by understanding your A through G components. So if you haven't, or this is your first time hearing about it, I highly suggest that within these next 2 weeks, you sit down with a case manager, because this is what's going to help you out the most. Understanding and this form is what you're going to be inputting your classes. That's what you're going to be doing in both UC, CSU. That's the biggest thing. Understanding your A through G, breaking it down, and knowing kind of where you're kind of at and where you kind of have to play around with. So sit down with the case manager, send us a message. We'd love that. Now you may ask yourself, what are the minimum eligibility schools? These are the minimum eligibility schools. How am I telling you that they're the minimum eligibility schools? Wow, that's a hard thing to say. It's because these are the schools that aren't impacted, meaning that they're looking at least that you have the bare minimum GPA to be accepted into the institutions. These are not impacted schools. They are impacted in specific majors. And if you look in your handouts, which I didn't add into this PowerPoint, is that you have a nifty little paper like this. It's a little matrix. And it talks about what schools or what majors are impacted. If you want something a little bit better or a little bit more accurate, I have it here in the presentation. I just didn't click on it because I was feeling myself. Is that they have this little link at the CSU website that tells you which schools or programs are impacted at every institution. So you can see which schools are impacted across the board because they have top programming in each institution. So like San Luis Obispo, Fresno, Fullerton, LA, Long Beach, San Diego State, San Jose State, impacted everywhere because that's just how the institution is. Then you can choose a specific campus that you're looking at and you can see, oh, sorry. There you go. I changed to San Bernardino. But you can see what the impaction rate is, right? So impacted in all options, criminal justice, it's impacted in kinesiology, impacted in nursing, impacted in social work. That means, one of the nice things that means is that that school has a strong programs in those areas. That school has a lot of students trying to get into those areas. Every other major isn't. You do something like Chico, impacted in music, nursing, social work. That means Chico has a really strong program in music for recording arts, something that maybe you didn't know, maybe something you can consider. East Bay, nursing. So that means it's an open campus for you to apply in engineering, English, psychology. The only program that's impacted is nursing. LA, all programs. So any of the schools that are listed up here, that means those are kind of the hardest schools to get into. But we can do this. We got this, right? We have all of us to support you and, explore our journey. So these are minimum eligibility index schools where they're only usually impacted for nursing or one other program. If you look at our freshman impacted schools, you have Pomona, Sacramento, Seawolf, San Marcos, Chico, East Bay, Monterey Bay, Cal State San Bernardino. That means a lot of freshmen are coming into these schools, but they're not impacted in different majors, as you saw earlier with what specific majors each school is impacted with. And of course, the super crazy impacted schools are Fullerton, San Diego, San Jose, Long Beach, Cal Poly San Luis Obispo, Fresno, and Cal State LA. These are the crazy impacted schools because they have a lot of opportunity, a lot of programs. So one thing that I want every single one of you to remember, wow, I'm doing so great, and to put in your calendars, to put in your note card, is that applications are due November 30th as of now. I'm telling you this now. Even if it's extended, you want to get them done by November 30th because you just want to get everything out of the way. Yes, Karina.
Just a little bit, some recap on the impaction. That's a word that you're going to hear us throw around a lot or just mention when it comes to both the UC and CSU. The best way to remember impaction is these colleges that we're talking to you about, specifically the CSUs, is that they receive more applications than they can take. One example of that is Long Beach State, which is everyone's favorite CSU, very popular, close to home, close to the beach, is impacted. Not only is the college impacted, but the majors within the college are impacted, which means even if, now, if anyone wants to guess how many applications Long Beach State received this last cycle, you can go ahead and put that in the chat. We will tell you how far or close you are, but Long Beach State received hundreds and thousands of applicants our applications this last cycle and the cycle before that, and every cycle for the last 10 years, if not more. And hypothetically speaking, Long Beach State can probably hold about 50,000 students. Now, this last cycle, they probably got close to 100,000 applications. So even if they wanted to admit every single one, they wouldn't be able to because there's no capacity. They have reached capacity. That's always been the case with Long Beach State, the same with Cal Poly, the Cal Polys, as well as San Diego State. They are just popular campuses that receive a numerous number of applicants. And so there was a chart that we showed where it shows what schools are impacted, what majors are impacted within that college. That way, so that you are conscious of this impaction, which means they just have reached capacity. They have space, very limited space, and the space, and it's mostly for those students that have that high GPA. And so this is part of working with the case manager. You want to get your transcripts evaluated, so when you apply smart, so that when you apply, you're not applying to all impacted schools, and that you have a variety of schools. That is our objective, is that so that you have a variety of schools and you're not just applying to apply it and then you end up applying to all four impacted schools. So the I is for impaction. The best way you can read this chart is by looking for your major and then bringing it down and finding that middle point between the college and your major. And so you're going to see that some of these majors are impacted at certain colleges, but they aren't at other colleges. And so this is where you get to do your research. You can pick and choose which schools you want to apply to. The only message or the only advice we can give you is try to have a variety of schools and try to not have too many impacted schools. Otherwise, like I said, they have reached their capacity. Nursing is a impacted major, which means that not only do you have to get into nursing to get into college, the spaces for nursing are also very limited because you do a lot of hands-on. And so unfortunately, a lot of the hospitals don't always have placement for these nurses that are graduating. And so there is a shortage of space, if you want to think about it that way. There just has reached, some of these schools have reached their capacity. Mind you, some of them offer graduate degrees, so they have graduate students that are part of that population. And so just something to keep in mind is impaction. There's impacted majors, impacted colleges, and the best way to avoid having all impacted school is to work with the case manager and get your transcript evaluated. We would never tell a 2.0 kid to apply to Long Beach State knowing it's an impacted school and they have already reached their capacity. Even a 2.5, we can see if you're gonna get in, but the chances are gonna be slim to none because of the impaction. They have reached capacity. So that's a little bit about Long Beach State. Can you put it in a link so that we can see it ourselves on our free time? Yes. We have someone that wants the chart of the impaction, the matrix sheet, so that they can look at it on their downtime. And then Mr. Eddie, I wanted to ask if I could share my screen when I get a chance. I do want to share and highlight next month, since we are now formally in Heritage Month. The CSU has a campaign where they're highlighting CSU alumni that have attended a Cal State in their life and have done great things. Some amazing people that went the Cal State route have been our very own staff. We have Mr. JC, who attended a CSU where he obtained his degree. We have Miss Carla, who is a CSU alumni. We have Miss Ingrid, Miss Catherine, Caesar, that are all on the presentation. Anyone else that I'm missing? Any other staff that I'm missing that went the CSU route?
Andres,
who is at the San Pedro Boys and Girls Club, attended Cal State LA. Mr. Martiliano is currently at Cal State Fullerton. And so we have some of our own that went the CSU route. But I wanted to highlight this because we are in, it is the Heritage Month, all through the Boys and Girls Club. You'll hear about it. We actually have some cool festivities going on through with our art department. Miss Sandra is going to be putting some cool events for y'all so that we can celebrate Heritage Month. But the CSU went ahead and highlight 30 individuals that identify as Latinx, one of them being the president, the chancellor of the CSU system is of Latino descent. He was appointed first Mexican American to serve as chancellor for the largest public institution. So this is him on the screen. You have other individuals that you may be able to relate to. These are students or faculty that that you're going to be able to relate to. So if we go through the different blocks that we have here, we have a congresswoman, first Mexican American congresswoman, first Latina appointed to the House, and was co-author of the DREAM Act, also an alumni from Cal State LA. You have alumni from San Jose State that are now directors of the Chicano and Latinx Student Success Center. You have, just about everything that you can think of. You have this young man, Juan Perez, student at Cal Poly San Luis Obispo, who has a podcast, and he highlights stories of young people of color. And so another great reason to consider the CSU because of the success that it's had, the history, you have Victor Torres, who graduated from Fresno State, who is now a director. You have even my favorite, Dolores Huerta, who is an alumni from CSU Bakersfield. It's about 2 hours from here. Lots of agriculture, and is a huge activist and co-founder of the National Farm Workers Association for the United Workers. She actually worked along with Cesar Chavez when the strike happened in a couple years ago. I'm a little blank right now, and I'm sure you all are getting ready to call it a day. You have Alberto Guzman, alumni from Monterey Bay. He serves as a senior software engineer for NASA. So again, we have a judge that is an alumni from Bakersfield as well. And so he ensures everyone is equal under the law. And a bunch more, 30 individuals that were highlighted. We hope that you are open to the CSU if you have a 2.0 or 2.5 or higher. And I say 2.0 because there is some factors like Mr. Eddie mentioned that can work in your favor. There is EOP. We have seen students still get in with the 2.4 to schools like Cal State Dominguez, and Cal State Dominguez actually is ranked number 5 in social mobility, which means you're likely to have a job after college. You're likely to work in the community you live in. And a lot of our even politicians that represent us on the 15 districts are alumni of Dominguez Hills. Our director is an alumni from Dominguez Hills, so we're huge advocates of Dominguez, Long Beach State, and all the other great CSUs that there is. But I wanted to highlight this because it is National Heritage Month, and so that you can maybe relate to a little bit. If you are a first generation college student and maybe you're second guessing yourself about even going to college, do know that you have our support and that we're going to support you regardless of what plan you have after you graduate. But consider the CSUs. Know that you are going to go and do great things if you do decide to attend to a CSU. You're likely to have less debt and you're likely to go on to graduate school. So again, lots of great opportunities at the CSU level. And so just wanted to highlight these individuals because of National Heritage Month. For the month of, and I think, you're going to be seeing different events from September 15 up until like October 15. So you're going to see a lot of festivities. I think one of them already tomorrow, and you probably already know which one. I'll pass it back to you, Mr. Eddie.
Thank you so much. Thank you. So yeah, there's plenty of opportunities out there within the CSU system, and there's plenty of varieties to kind of, check it out and really see what else is out there, to see all the support that they have within the CSU community. I was pulling it up too, but then she already had it ready sharing. I was like, let me pull it up real quick.
But you can share the great news we got today.
Oh, yes. But I just got to talk about 2 more things, and then I'll let them know. So as a thank you for
make a
So remember, applications due November 30th, period. No ifs, ands, or buts, no dot, dot, dots. It's the period because that's when we're trying to get them all done, hopefully earlier, but if not, a little bit later. And let's say you're in a situation where you're a student that, wanted to apply, maybe didn't get into your dream school. So maybe you're that student that said, I want to go to Cal State Long Beach. I'm applying. That's the only school I'm going to put on my application. That's the only school I went for. You're technically eligible by CSU standards to be admitted, a 3.0 GPA, right? It's 3.0 UC CSU, above that 2.5. You meet the requirements to go into our minimum eligibility schools. Well, it's not fair that you don't get the right to go to that school, right? It's not fair that because you only chose one school, you don't really get the opportunity to be part of the CSU family. So they have a pathway known as redirection. And I like this little video because I think it explains it really well, to be honest. So I'm going to play it right now so that we can listen to it.
Meet Anthony. He's a graduating high school senior from Oceanside, California, and excited to go to the CSU campus he applied to, San Diego State. He meets all the qualifications. He has a strong GPA and completed the A through G requirements, and he doesn't live too far from the campus, so he should get accepted, right? Well, not so fast. Since San Diego State gets a bunch of applications every year, they don't have the capacity to admit every student who applies. If they don't have enough room, Anthony will have the option to get redirected to another campus since he met minimum CSU eligibility. So, how does the whole redirection thing work? If a campus is super popular, like San Diego State, they just can't accept every qualified student who applies. So, after admission decisions are announced for the semester, applicants who were eligible but didn't get accepted to any campus they applied will get an email with instructions for redirection. You'll select a first and a second choice from a list of campuses that are open to accepting more students through redirection. Unless the first redirection campus fills up, you're accepted at that new campus. The slots do fill up fast though, so make sure and respond quickly so you have a better shot of getting accepted by your first choice campus. The list of campuses available for redirection changes each application cycle, so check the Cal State Apply website for the most updated information. The best thing about the CSU is we have 23 campuses to choose from, all providing quality education and opportunity for everyone. So while Anthony didn't get to go to San Diego State, he did get redirected and accepted at Sonoma State, and he's now a proud Seawolf.
Yay, fun times, right? So that's a great recap of what Impaction kind of does. Now you may ask yourself and say like, oh, Eddie, so that means I can just apply to the impacted schools, right? I can apply to Long Beach, I can do Long Beach, San Diego, San Luis Obispo, and Fullerton. And I'm fine, right? I'm totally fine, like, because they're going to redirect me. Not so fast. Like she mentioned in the video, the biggest thing is that not all the schools are going to be the same every year. So it can vary. Maybe your next best choice that you were banking on is that Dominguez was going to be on that list, that you wanted to go there. It could be that Dominguez filled up this year. It could be that the only options might be Sonoma. So now you're either choosing community college or having to travel all the way up like 6 hours to go to Sonoma State. If you're cool with Sonoma, beautiful, perfect. If that wasn't your vision to move out, then I still suggest that you always put your next backup plan in the application list. If you're doing those 4 free school waivers, or if you're doing 2, 3, always make sure that you have access to that one local CSU that you can see yourself doing. Maybe you didn't get into your dream CSU, but you still have access to that. Whether that's San Jose State or your dream CSU is Long Beach, you still want to add that backup to either Dominguez, Northridge, Fullerton, or whatever your backup really is, to make sure that you still have the opportunity to continue that education to be able to get into that institution. So always have that backup. So that's my always piece of advice. But yes, if that opportunity does happen, or let's say you're in a situation where like, oh, I didn't get into the schools, we can validate and say, hey, you should have gotten redirected. Let's try and get you into one of these institutions, if that happens to be your situation. Okay.
Meet Anthony.
But I don't want to meet Anthony anymore. There we go. So The last part of the presentation was exploring that, but we're out of time. I don't want to take up too much of your time, but you can feel free to explore with your case managers. I highlighted some of the things throughout the presentation to make sure that you guys at least took notes. But we have this access, as Ms. Karina mentioned, in our binder so that you can see what each university kind of is, what are their top majors, what that kind of flavor is. We showed you the impaction chart so you can kind of develop. I like these slides because it kind of gives you that atmospheric of like, oh, pretty vibe, a little hospital vibes, or what types of things. And like I said, Sonoma, wine viticulture, that's something that you don't really get opportunities, Sacramento, all that fun stuff. But we did have a special little announcement to make as a thank you for you guys staying here so long. As like a super, super thank you for staying here so long. Let me pull it up so I could show you guys. But I have some good news. I need to go back to Zoom. Here it is. Is that the Toyota Scholarship is now available and it finally released today. So if you guys have been here for a while, this is one of our great partners that we love communicating with, that we love talking to you about. The Toyota Scholarship is a 4-year scholarship. So that could be a $5,000, $10,000, $15,000, $20,000 scholarship divided into 4 years. It's open to both students going into vocational, to 4-year institutions, universities, and because it's a partner, or we are part of the nonprofit partners, that gives you that little kind of nomination or highlight to be able to apply. So the scholarship is open and it is due November 1st. So I highly suggest that you guys do it. Check it out. We're going to be talking about it in Scholarship Power Hour pretty soon. And within your emails, within the workshop reminder, I had a whole bunch of new scholarships and opportunities for you guys to apply and to look into. So take advantage. But without further ado, any final questions, remarks? Antes?
I would just like to add that you, for this big scholarship, because it is a partnership and because you will have to get confirmation from us as a community-based organization, you do have to have active membership with the Boys and Girls Club. So this is your opportunity to turn those forms in if you haven't already. It's been 5 weeks since we started school, so there should be no reason as to why there is no active membership by now. The other one of the requirements is that you are active in our college bound program as well. There is a question that that will ask you, how has the Boys and Girls Club assist you or impact you? And so they're gonna know right away who is not a Boys and Girls Club member. Like I said, we do have to validate your membership and say that you are a member. We also have to assist with some forms that you have to upload. In this case, the transcripts and as well as some tax forms that you'll learn about as you're creating your profile. The name of the scholarship is Toyota Making Life Easier. So you can just type that into the search engine and you can go right into the application. Now, mind you, November 1st is the first time you can actually submit your UC apps. So some of you might find yourself submitting UC apps, private school apps, Toyota apps. And keep in mind that the deadline for all of the college applications is the week of Thanksgiving. So just prep yourself. Don't overwhelm yourself. Don't try to do everything all at once and burn yourself out by that November 1st date. So pace yourself. This is Toyota is something that you can start working on now until that October 1st date for financial aid and CSU. And just work with the case manager, get that application revised is the best tip I can give you. Do not try to submit it on your own, nor your college applications, because I can tell you 9 out of 10 times, like Eddie said before, there will be a mistake. Our spaces will be open as late as 8 p.m. We're not going to be here on Saturdays moving forward. So we're here 9 to 2. So there should be no reason as to why students work on the application. And also keep in mind that if you were to be awarded this scholarship, you are still eligible for more scholarships outside of that. So you're not limited to just one. And it's one of our biggest ones. It's multimillionaire. It helps you pay for school. And so we're excited. We were waiting anxiously for today to come so that it can finally open, and you get to be the first ones to hear about it. And this is as an incentive and as a thank you for being committed to our program. There's going to be more opportunities like these in the future. So always stay engaged, come to workshop, and you're going to find about things like this first. We are eventually going to get it out to the rest of the student body, but because you were here in College Bound, you get to see it before anyone else. So it's right out of the oven. And with that, back to you, Ms. Eddie.
All right, then. Thank you so much. So make sure you guys check it out. Peep us out. Join us for our programming. Keep up to date. But if not, feel free to let us know any questions that you have. But if not, have a wonderful Wednesday and enjoy. Don't forget, the club is closed tomorrow. All of our clubs are closed, and we are open again on Friday. Selena, love you.
Bye. Have a wonderful day.
Thank you. You too. Bye. Thank you. Thank you. Have a lovely day. Thank you. Thank you. Bye. Bye. Thank you. Thank you. All right then. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much, everyone. So with that being said, happy Wednesday. Bye.
Happy Wednesday. I gotta go to the bathroom. I'll see you guys later.
Bye.